This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Rolla. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, the government is expected to make a decision this month regarding a possible extension of the expired provisions of the Hawksbill Agreement. Various sectors have given their views on the issue and what it could mean for the future of Freeport. Now, the latest group to join the public debate is the Citizens Review Committee. A town meeting was recently hosted by that group. Dylan Knowles of Dylan F. Knowles Consulting giving those in attendance the background of free trade zones and its value, the difference in regulations that create free trade zones in the Freeport or the Locaia area, and how they are administered.
There's always a concern by residents, government, licensees about how the Hawksbill Creek Agreement is administered, more so than there is concern about the Hawksbill Creek Agreement itself. The benefits of the Hawksbill Creek Agreement are what created this city that we have come to love and live in. And I'm always interested in allowing people to understand that we don't need to throw out the baby with the bathwater.
He believes that there needs to be a change in the administrative structure. However, Knowles says that the three benefits that have expired should be kept.
The exemption from real property tax, the exemption from business revenue tax, what I call income tax, and the exemption from capital gains tax. The last two are really not exemptions per se, because we don't really have those taxes in the country today, so they're really only insurance certificates, if you wish, against future taxes of those natures. And the exemption from real property tax is a real exemption, although it is somewhat of an interesting exemption because being a out island, Bahamians in Grand Bahama would not pay real property tax even if the exemption was allowed to expire.
The local consultant says that these three exemptions have driven the city of Freeport, but explains that the free trade zone must be reestablished as a real trade zone.
I strongly believe we need to change the structure of how we administer the Hawksbill Creek Agreement. We cannot continue to have a single investor be the, if you wish, the monopoly administrator of the city of Freeport.
His solution is that all stakeholders must have a say in the city of Freeport.
If we go down that particular path and that we all pull together to promote Freeport for what it is intended to be, that it would be a big success story at the end.
In other news, CLECO officials wrapping up the payout to former clients here on Grand Bahama this past weekend. Now, this coming as the company that went into liquidation in 2009 now attempts to reposition itself in the market. Joan Davis-Roll reports.
As CLECO officials complete a two-day payout process here on Grand Bahama, it's now back to the nation's capital, where they say the exercise will go into high gear. Some 3,600 policyholders there are eligible to receive their portion of the $16 million allocated.
It's only just begun. There are many people who didn't show up in Nassau, so we are preparing the office in Nassau, beefing up with extra staff to handle the influx of not only queries, but claimants who would come to claim their checks.
Since 2009, when CLECO went into liquidation, the future of CLECO as well as the funds paid by policyholders have been hanging in the balance. This marks the first payout in 7 years. CLECO's operations manager, Vaughn Calmer, commented on averting a repeat of this fiasco.
Ever since the CLECO situation, the Insurance Act was changed and the regulatory regime was beefed up. So the name was changed from Registrar of Insurance Companies to the Insurance Commission. So there's more staff, more professional staff. So it's very unlikely for this to happen again.
Calmer says, meanwhile, CLECO Insurance Company is now positioning itself for a major transition. Says what will happen with the company and those persons who still have policies with CLECO.
Yes, those persons will continue to pay. And there will be public notices along the way as the company transitions. So they would pay the same premium and their policy contract will be honored to the word. Once it attains its new license, then the policyholders will regain the previous rights and privileges they had to their policy, such as borrowing against their cash values and keeping the policy active. Rather than trying to surrender to get that cash value, they can retain their policy and enjoy the privilege of borrowing their cash values. So hopefully that transition will move quickly and efficiently over the next few months.
Joan Davis Roll, ZNS Network News.
In news from the crime beat, 10 persons rescued from a failed human smuggling attempt in waters off Grand Bahama. Now, according to reports, Coast Guard officials were advised that a vessel was in distress some 18 nautical miles northwest of Freeport when the Coast Guard ship William Weber arrived on the scene around 12:30 p.m. on Saturday. They found an overturned boat and the 10 passengers were all sitting on top of the keel of the boat. There were 4 women, all Haitian nationals, 2 of whom were pregnant, and 6 men, including 4 Haitian men, a Bahamian and a Jamaican man. They were handed over to the Immigration Department for processing. Reports say the group departed from the Xanadu Beach area sometime on Friday night, and after traveling for about 5 hours, the vessel started taking on water. Reports say the 2 Bahamian captains called for someone to pick them up and left the 10 passengers to fend for themselves. Reports say the group tried to stop passing vessels, but to no avail. All of the migrants, with the exception of the Jamaican, told officials that they paid to be transported to the United States, but the Jamaican national said he was only going along for the ride. Immigration officials have since determined that the Jamaican had overstayed his time in the Bahamas. All of the migrants have been transported to the capital to await repatriation. The Bahamian male is assisting authorities with their investigation into this failed smuggling attempt. Switching gears now, the excitement is mounting as Grand Bahama prepares to host the 2nd annual Bahamas Junkanoo Carnival Festival. The cultural explosion is set to get underway April 15th through the 16th. Among the areas set to benefit are those in the hospitality and the tourism sectors. Joan Davis Roll has this story.
Grand Bahama, get ready. Junkanoo Carnival fever is in the air, and from tourism indicators, the economic impact once again will be phenomenal. Officials say hotels like the Castaways Resort is already booked solid as tourism officials move to capitalize on this golden opportunity. According to the Deputy Director of the Grand Bahama Island Tourism Board, Betty Bethel, the push is not only on to put more heads in beds, but to take Grand Bahama to the world.
Carnivals and events, we also look to use those opportunities to drive domestic travel as well as international travel. And this year, the Grand Bahama Island Tourism Board has sourced from its members, about 5 of those members, special rates to accommodate all of our Bahamians who will be traveling to Grand Bahama next weekend. We have rates as low as $73, starting at the Castaways. We also have rates from Flamingo Bay, the Grand Lucayan, Memories, and Pelican Bay hotels.
With an estimated $5 million generated by carnivals in the local economy last year, tourism officials are hoping unemployment numbers will go down and that more Grand Bahamians will be smiling all the way to the bank.
All hands on deck are required because this is when we get a chance to show off our destination, because we have to always be top of mind that we don't do one-offs. These events promote tourism and travel to Grand Bahama year long. So if we get it done right at events such as Junkanoo Carnival Kickoff, then we set the stage for the rest of the year. Persons then know the types and the caliber of events that we can pull off here. So whenever we go out in the marketplace, whether it's domestically or internationally, and we say that we're having a special event on Grand Bahama, well, the stage has been set and we expect people to travel in droves to be here.
Bethel stated that the tourism reach has been extensive in promoting what is fast becoming a signature event.
We have for the past several months been going into various cities having sales missions. And each sales mission has focused on Bahamas Junkanoo Carnival. You may have seen some of the newest coverage on ZNS where we've gone into Atlanta, we've gone into Houston, we've gone into several cities throughout Florida promoting Grand Bahama Island as well as the rest of the islands of the Bahamas. But the emphasis has been Junkanoo Carnival. We've had carnival dancers, we've had Junkanoo, and our travel agents are hyped and they are ready to sell Grand Bahama and the rest of the Bahamas again.
Joan Davis Roll, ZNS Network News.
Meantime, the Abaco Junkanoo Committee closing out its junior and senior parades over the weekend. On Saturday night, the top senior groups competed for the top awards, and our Megan Shepard was there.
The All-Abaco Senior Junkanoo Parade bringing together families, residents, and visitors alike to the Don McKay Parade route. Spectators lined the streets as the defending 2015 champions, the Murphytown Superstars, made their grand entrance. The group's theme, Wake Up Bahamas, urging residents to be aware of current events in the country. Group leader Gilbert Davis feeling confident on the first lap.
I think the music was on par with any music that will come out afterward. And I can tell you one thing, we was performing, and the performance that we did, they better come out, they better come good. Because if they don't come good, I can tell you one thing, we done carry it, long time. We got it.
Up next, the Little Island Slammers hailing from Green Turtle Key, the group presenting a theme focusing on the country of China. Third to the route, the Spring City Youth, the young people depicting a theme of past, present, and future. They're all smiles as they showcase their exceptional costumes. Finally to the route, the 2014 champions, the Spring City Rockers. Their theme, preserving Abaco's land and sea parks. The group looking to dethrone the Superstars, bringing out their best representations of all things Abaco. After an impressive first lap, Chairman of the All-Abaco Junkanoo Committee, William Davis, says Junkanoo is being taken to a new level on the island. He adds that he's been involved in the cultural event for some decades and the growth is definitely evident.
I am very optimistic that Junkanoo and Abaco has a bright future. People have differing views on how things should go, but I think once we can come together and understand exactly what it is we're trying to achieve, and the fact that the talent within itself and the culture in itself has grown immensely here in the Abaco in the last 16 years, that says a lot. And the fact that more people are now paying attention to what it is that they want from the culture, again, shows the growth of the culture. You know, some 20 years ago, it didn't matter. We might have had one or two groups and we didn't have any schools at all. Now you have a basic whole community, and I'm talking about the entire island of Abaco, who's looking forward to the parade, who is participating in the parade, who now has their loyalties to their various different groups, and who's expressing how they feel about the culture. And that's the only way it can grow in the Abacos.
Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
Thanks, Megan, and stay with us. There is more news right after this.